Hello guys, Tops here. Today I want to talk to you about famed armors, right? We did the famed weapons and yeah, talked talked a lot about famed weapons. Today we continue with famed armor. And how do you get famed armor? You get famed armor from either champions or you get it from camps, which is much more likely. So the big camps that are far away from civilization have a high chance of having famed items inside. And today we want to look on armor. Okay, the good thing about armor is your durability and your fatigue is always affected, right? So that you always roll on the two good stats. On weapons, you can roll on two stats, which is and durability is always affected. Yeah, so that's bad, right? You can get a complete useless weapon that you don't like because it rolled on like shield damage and fatigue or something, and you want to have damage. But on armor, you always get less fatigue and more durability. So armor generally really nice. Okay, so I would generally put the famed armor into three categories, which is full nimble, nimble forge, and full battle forge. And yeah, that's basically armor is very simple, and in this case we would just go straight into it, and I will say some words on the way. In general, I prefer Battleforge over Nimble, but even late game, I tend to have some Nimble bros, some like backliners. My banner is usually Nimble. I might have a Nimble tank, an archer who is Nimble, a gunner who is Nimble, something like that, right? So I don't like Nimble frontliners for late game because they tend to just die, right? They have to worry more about negative status effects like fearsome, moral checks, bleeding, stuff like dazed and staggered effects. The more they are just overall not that durable than full forge bros. Okay, so with that in mind, let's go. We have the hardened leather armor, which is the lightest one and has the lowest durability. It is really consistently low durability, low weight, which you kind of want on Nimble because you want your head and your body helmet to have less than 15 fatigue. Really nice on dodgy, fast characters. Same with the plated fur armor, can have more durability, but higher fatigue, which is not that great. These ones are really nice. Which this one is actually the best nimble armor if you find that one, because it like has really high durability and can have super low fatigue. This one, if this min rolls fatigues, like is the best one from all of them. So this is the best one, but the other ones are not too bad either. I'm happy to give this to a nimble character. And from there on, we have armor that has more than 15 fatigue, but less than 300 durability. And normally, this is kind of like the Nimble Forge territory. And you kind of take Nimble and Battleforge together, and you kind of want to approach like 70% hit point reduction from Nimble, and you want to have like still, if you're lucky, something like 70% Battleforge, but a lot of the time you don't achieve that. And these kind of armors I tend to not use that much because I'm not a huge fan of Nimble Forge. But sometimes, especially if they high roll on durability and they're relatively light on fatigue, I will try to give them additional armor from like a Lindworm Clock that gives them plus 60 durability to make them into lighter Battleforge for my bros who have lower fatigue. And as you guys know, I like to have Berserkers on all of them. So even my late game bros sometimes have super low fatigue with Berserk. So giving like a Lindworm armor who like high rolled with a little bit additional like maybe additional armor plating, so you get to like 300 armor with like 30 with like 20 fatigue or something. This gives you basically plus 20 fatigue compared to a full coat of plates. So now my low base fatigue Battleforge guy with Berserk can basically hit again up to 2 times more with my two-handed weapon. So really, really nice. Yeah, I like to give, again, I like to give these armors that cannot reach 300 by themselves additional armor plating and make them into lighter Battleforge plating, into lighter Battleforge armor. Yeah, Nimble Forge is its own topic, and generally, if I find one of these 4 armors, I'm not too happy. This one is generally okay for Battleforge. It's low durability, but still like a decent range. It's kind of like in between. It can become decent Battleforge gear if I give it additional armor plating. And these last 5 ones are the full forge armor, and they have generally less durability and just more than 300 armor, which is like incredible. If I find any one of these, I am super, super happy. Super, super happy. With the enhanced count of plates, it's just the best one with like ridiculous durability for like fairly low fatigue. A full coat of plates is like 400, is 42 fatigue. And scale armor is, I think, 38 fatigue. So for 300 forge armor, so like this one at like max 32 up to minus 26 is like ridiculous. I love these kind of armors. I'm really happy if I find these kind of armors. And now we come to the armor attachment side, which is a little bit interesting. There are arguments. I think there are 3 main types of armor attachments that I would consider, which is basically bone plating, which completely negates the first hit that you take. And we have fur padding, which reduces armor pen by like, I think 30%. And then we have the additional plate armor, or the lindworm scales, which give you plus 60 durability, or just the normal armor plates give you plus 40 durability. The easiest to get ones are the additional armor ones. You can buy them in shops, like in armor shops. So most of the time, if I have no attachments, I just, for the full Battleforge armor, I just buy one of these and just increase the armor. And you can make arguments for all 3 of them, right? So like bone plating is really, really strong versus the big heavy hits that have high armor pen. Like really good against stuff like lindworms and chosen and orc berserkers and stuff. So like really good against that. The fur padding, which is probably my favorite for full forge armor, is really, really good though for reducing armor pen, right? So it's really good versus chosens. That means a lot of the times you don't get first hit injured by a chosen when they hit you. And it's really good versus crossbows, because crossbows with mastery go up to ridiculous armor pen. And even if you have full forge, a lot of the times, if you get unlucky, that means it's a first hit injury. And you kind of want to have like injury resistance. And fur padding is really good for injury resistance. Bone plating, on the other hand, can be used on the lighter nimble armor, but it has plus 2 fatigue, same as the fur padding. So yeah, it's not that great, but still useful. And I think, yeah, just plus 2, the bone plating is probably my favorite armor attachments for the nimble armor. For the nimble forge armor, I would say usually I just want to have more armor. So I take an additional armor attachment, optimally the lindworm attachment, which gives you plus 60 durability for 3 fatigue, but it's really hard to make. You need to make it all of the bones from a lindworm or an Untold, and you need to have lindworm scales, so it's hard to make, but really nice durability. And generally on full forge armors, I like to have fur padding to reduce the armor pen, right? The armor ignore damage that comes through. But on Battleforge, you can also take the just additional armor platings to just get to ridiculous armor numbers, because every 20 armor on Battleforge is 1% damage reduction to your armor, basically. So the lindworm attachment is just -3. It's basically just 3% armor damage reduction if you have Battleforge. So that's really nice by itself. And the bone plating is still fine. It's like really good versus the big hits. I tend to not like it that much in general, because a lot of the time it gets triggered by random javelins that are thrown at you, so it doesn't do much. A lot of the times in Orc and Barbarian fights, because it gets just randomly triggered. But it still is, it's really useful versus the big hits. Yeah, so bone plating for the Nimble armor, for the 4 Nimble armors, for these Nimble Forge armors, additional armor attachments, and for Battleforge, full padding most of the time. Yeah. Yeah, in general, really happy if I find Famed Nimble armor or Famed Forge armor. If I find Nimble Forge armor, I'm calm, always not so great, because I tend to not build Nimble Forge. I tend to go Nimble or Battleforge. But I have separate videos on this, so you can watch that if you want to. All right, next one is, of course, same with the helmets, although I cannot make attachments for the helmets. So again, like the first 2 helmets, we only have 2 pure Nimble helmets, I would say. Like helmets that are really, 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 really low on fatigue. They can have to like 4 fatigue for like really good armor values. But this one already has 8 fatigue, which means even if you give it the lightest the lightest Nimble armor, you already have like 16 fatigue, so you are already at 41% Nimble, which is fine, but still, like, I tend to not use that a lot on Nimble. Yeah, and generally I tend to not use these 3 helmets because they are not really good for Nimble and not really good for Battleforge, generally. I sometimes use these helmets, these 3 helmets, they're kind of in between, like they're kind of like low Battleforge on average, but they have, if they roll nice on fatigue, I might give that to a brother who doesn't have a lot of fatigue to, in return, gain more fatigue. All right, that's kind of, I'm sacrificing a little bit of defense in order to get more fatigue. So for something like a cleaver or a duelist, I like to give them the medium helmets. Yeah, all of these can kind of low roll on Battleforge, but they have really low fatigue. Like you save a lot of fatigue compared to a big great helm. And the Salad is the only big helmet that has only -1 visibility. So this is actually, if you want to Battleforge your crossbow guys, your archers, or your gunners, this is the only helm I would advise to, because it reduces your vision by only 1. And then the last 4 helmets, they have more than 300 durability with like not too much fatigue, and I'm really happy if I find those ones. These are for my big heavy forge guys. I really love when I find those ones. Yeah, really happy when I find them. Again, yeah, pretty simple. These ones are generally pretty good for Battleforge. Maybe this one too. These ones are kind of in between, and especially this one is one I rarely use, and this one maybe, because they have so low durability. But these ones are excellent for Nimble, and like, yeah. So there's only a small band of helmets that are not really great for either Nimble or Battleforge, luckily. Like there's a much wider range in armor that is not really suited for Battleforge or Nimble. Okay, and the last thing is we have famed stuff. First one, Obsidian Dagger. It's from the Witch Hut, and that basically resurrects human enemies into zombies, which is kind of funny. It's a meme weapon. Next one is the Reproach of the Old Gods. If you defeat the Kraken and you do the Watermill after that, you get the Reproach of the Old Gods. It's the laser sword, the best weapon in the game. Excellent weapon. It does additional lightning damage that does direct HP damage and ignores armor. Super nice. Then the next ones, we have the Aspect of Darkghoul that regenerates. The Aspect of Darkghoul regenerates 90 points of durability each turn, which is ridiculous. There's also the Helmet, who does the same thing, the Glimpse of Darkghoul. You can only have access to that if you play Cultist, so this is a Cultist-only thing. But it's really, really crazy strong, that nice one. This one does not reduce your visibility, which is kind of like, if you want to have a Battleforge archer or crossbow guy, play Cultist and give him the helmet. It's kind of funny. Okay, the next one is the Armor of the Ejirok. You regenerate 10 hit points every round. Super crazy. You get that if you defeat the Madman. and you after that go to the hunting grounds and defeat the Ejirok. I have videos on how to do that. Really, really nice. Next one is the helmet of the Ejirok, who does the same thing. So you generally put this on your tanks and your Battleforge frontliners, especially your monolith tank wants to have the helmet of the Ejirok. So he can regenerate 10 hit points every turn to counter the miasma from the Ancient Undead. Yeah, so most of the time I just spread the helmet and the armor, so I can have 2 bros who regenerate 10 hit points every turn. And the last one is the Emperor's armor. You get that from the Black Monolith, from the Emperor himself. This one is like the damage reflect is bugged, I think, but it's generally the most durability for fatigue that you can get, like 400. You can't get higher than this. The Emperor's Countenance is found in Goblin City. Yeah, best armor in the game probably. Although you might argue that Ejirok or Glimpse of Darkcool also might be the best armor in the game. And like if you get the Emperor's armor, like for me, Black Monolith is the last fight of the game. If I beat Black Monolith, the game is done for me, kind of. So yeah, how much value this actually has, I don't know. It's for super late game in maxing. Okay, this one's the Fangshire. I think you only get this if you have like the supporter pack pre-order or something. So I don't have that. You cannot buy this. Yeah. Anyways, the last one is the Gilder's Embrace, is the Golden Shield. So if you do Sunken Library, you get a Black Book. And now you lead a level 2 Historian, or I think level 10 Cultist. And he can read the Black Book in an event. And then a merchant comes and he wants to buy the Black Book. And he either gives you 50,000 gold, the Golden Shield, or 2 jugs. And each jug gives a brother an additional perk point. So you can either get 2 additional perk points on your bros, or you can get the shield. The shield cannot be broken, gives you additional defense, has really high defense, low fatigue, and it dazes everybody who hits the shield. So the best shield in the game. Really, really nice, like this one, especially for the Monolith tank. Kind of designed for that. Yeah, and these are all the weapons, all the armor, all the legendary items in the game. And yeah, guys, this is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. By the way, I stream daily on YouTube and Twitch. You can join me there. I have a Discord. You can join me there. And thanks for all your comments and for your support. Have a nice day, guys. Bye-bye.